He's here. We can feel him screaming through the black, racing toward the whole of creation, his hands wrapping around the world's throat. This is it. No more running, no more hiding. Knull, the Lord of the Abyss, the God of the Symbiotes, has arrived. Tonight on the Comic Book Report, The King in Black. Stick around and check it out. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dominic, and you are tuning in for the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. All month long, we've been going through our Halloween horror-themed segments, Comics by Night, and we've nearly reached the end, but not before covering The King in Black. But first, some quick facts about this collection. The King in Black was written by Donny and penciled by Ryan Stegman. These comics were first published by Marvel in 2020. This volume collects The King in Black, issues 1 through 5. The trade paperback we'll be reviewing today is 160 pages. Before we go any further, a brief spoiler warning. I will be flipping through this collection in its entirety and may be discussing some plot details. You've been warned. And there she is, the King in Black. And may I just say, I love the cover art. I love all the different Marvel heroes we get on the front. It is just spectacular. It just drew me right in from the very beginning. The spine is pretty straightforward, and then we have some beautiful art on the back as well, of course, with some of the symbiote dragon bat things. And as we get ready to dive into the book itself, I just want to explain my excitement at reading The King in Black. I will admit, this is the first Marvel event series I have read in quite some time. I've been out of the game a little bit, especially with current events, but The King in Black was one that was recommended to me by many. And I have to admit, I was really intrigued with the little I did know about it. My biggest concern was, could I read The King in Black without reading Venom or Absolute Carnage or some of these other current runs? And what I heard was a resounding, it's pretty standalone, all things considered, even though there's been so many tie-ins, and apparently the Venom run by Donny have all led up to this moment. So right from the get-go, I just want to confess, I have not read the Donny Venom run. Although after reading this event, I am so curious to go back and see how that run enriches The King in Black. But I have to say, from my read-through, I found that advice rang relatively true. I felt like The King in Black was more or less a standalone story. Of course it helps that I know most of the cast in the Marvel Universe, but I never really felt myself overly lost as I was reading through the narrative of this book. Which is exactly what I was hoping for. I just got to enjoy the ride. So for those of you that don't know and might be curious, what is The King in Black? The King in Black is a Marvel event series that takes place when Knull, the god of the symbiotes, arrives on Earth with an army of these aforementioned symbiote dragons and other creatures in an attempt to take over and eclipse the Earth with this symbiote. And nearly from page 1, it is go time. Venom, in conjunction with the Avengers and all of these other superhero teams, are quickly mobilized to defend the Earth against this incredible foe. And honestly, that's the whole setup right there. It's an invading creature, an invading army trying to take over, destroy the world, and all of Earth's heroes rallying together to stop this amazing force. And for someone like me, who not only has not read the current Donny Venom run, but hasn't read anything yet by Donny before this, I had no idea what to expect from the writing. And frankly, I was thoroughly impressed. While I do think the character of the God of the Symbiotes is quite unique and makes for a lot of fun storytelling, from the outset, you don't really think of just this invading alien wanting to destroy the world as something groundbreakingly new, or in itself exciting. But in my opinion, what Donny here has done is turned this story into a really character-driven and fun, adrenaline-filled thrill ride. We have some grounded storytelling from some imperfect characters, And I'm not sure if this is going to make sense, but this run is just filled with the closest thing I can think of is 80s metal. It has an 80s metal feel from the monsters and the creatures and just the action and the violence and the imagery. It's just very high octane. I can just imagine a soundtrack to this story. And it kept me turning the page one after another until this whole trade was devoured by me. And I think that has so much to do with the amazing art from Ryan Stegman. Like I said, it's so evocative of just this high octane energy. And I just love seeing the way he does the character models in these action sequences, in these team sequences. The lines are clean and crisp and realistic looking. And even though some grotesque and violent things were happening, I just thought it was gorgeous to look at. I really want to see more from this team. And if you haven't noticed by now, I think the inclusion of some of these, I'll call them cameo heroes throughout this story, it just added an extra bonus layer where every issue I was just thinking, who's going to pop up next? It just added to the fun of this series. I know that the King in Black is likely overhyped or talked about maybe too much for some people's liking, but to me, it was such a fun read. That made me more excited for Marvel Event Series again. To pick up this small trade volume and have this one sprawling epic adventure, frankly, it was worth the cost of entry to me. And now that we've finished our look at this trade, I think it's time we give it a grade. For this epic standalone event that really rejuvenated my feelings toward event series in general, the Comic Book Report has to give The King in Black a B+. This story was not only well-paced, with an energy that just helped me go all the way till the end, but it also made me care about Venom and some of the other Marvel characters in a way I haven't, at least for a long time. From some creative panel layouts to some gruesomely beautiful pencil work, this action-packed series is one I will not forget about soon, and it has me itching to read the Donny Cates Venom run. The King in Black is easy to recommend to anyone who's looking for a fast-paced event series with some darker elements that has a good resolution. Don't sleep on the King in Black. And that's going to do it for the Comic Book Report Comics by Night. Come back on Halloween as we close out this themed series. Good night.